For better to come, good must stand aside. Neurosis is the suffering of a soul which has not discovered its meaning. When you are up against a wall, put down roots like a tree until clarity comes from deeper sources to see over that wall and row. In each of us there is another whom we do not know. Creative power is mightier than its possessor. A particularly beautiful woman is a source of terror. As a rule, a beautiful woman is a terrible disappointment. The sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. The creative mind plays with the object it loves. We have forgotten the age-old fact that God speaks chiefly through dreams and visions. What we do not make conscious emerges later as fate. Had I left those images hidden in the emotions, I might have been torn to pieces by them. The kernel of all jealousy is lack of love. Sentimentality is a superstructure covering brutality. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Man cannot stand a meaningless life. Man needs difficulties, they are necessary for health. Whatever we look at, and however we look at it, we see only through our own eyes. Everyone is in love with his own ideas. In such doubtful matters where you have to work as a pioneer, you must be able to put some trust in your intuition and follow your feeling, even at the risk of going wrong. We are born at a given moment in a given place, and like vintage years of wine, we have the qualities of the year and of the season in which we are born. It all depends on how we look at things, and not how they are in themselves. Where your fear is, there is your task. One of the main functions of organized religion is to protect people against a direct experience of God. I am looking forward enormously to getting back to the sea again, where the Overstimulated psyche can recover in the presence of that infinite peace and spaciousness. The secret is that only that which can destroy itself is truly alive. I am no longer alone with myself, and I can only artificially recall the scary and beautiful feeling of solitude. This is the shadow side of the fortune of love. I shall not commit the fashionable stupidity of regarding everything I cannot explain as a fraud. If one does not understand a person, one tends to regard him as a fool. Children are educated by what the grown-up is, and not by his talk. Words are animals alive with a will of their own. The gods have become our diseases. Find out what a person fears most, and that is where he will develop next. The fool is the precursor to the savior. Sometimes you have to do something unforgivable just to be able to go on living. Often the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. Without this playing with fantasy, no creative work has ever yet come to birth. The debt we owe to the play of the imagination is incalculable. People don't have ideas, ideas have people. Midlife is the time to let go of an overdominant ego and to contemplate the deeper significance of human existence. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. The bigger the crowd, the more negligible the individual becomes. Intuition does not denote something contrary to reason, but something outside of the province of reason. Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. Neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering. My whole being was seeking for something still unknown which might confer meaning upon the banality of life. Life really does begin at 40. Up until then you are just doing research. Lack of sexual activity leads to neurosis. The true leader is always led. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. If the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else's. Through pride we are ever deceiving ourselves, but deep down below the surface of the average conscience, a still small voice says to us something is out of tune. Nobody, as long as he moves among the chaotic currents of life, is without trouble. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. We are not what happened to us, we are what we wish to become.